All right, everybody, this is our last series in the May Quick Classes. The last class in the Quick Class series for May, but we are planning to continue. We're just not sure of the details. But this has been really fun, and I hope it's been useful for everybody that's followed along to just pop on and learn a little bit about the topic of the night. So for today, we are talking about getting ready for summer and some things we can do to be healthy. If you've been looking in our Fit for Life class, there's a skincare and makeup, and so a lot of the products that we use, whether it's specifically related to skincare and makeup or not, but we have to be really careful about those ingredients because anything we put on our skin is going to make its way into our bloodstream and to all of our organs. And if there are ingredients that our body wasn't meant to process, then that is going to cause health issues. And it may not be right away, but bioaccumulation means that those products or those ingredients that are harmful are going to eventually accumulate over the course of time. And as we get older, we will find more and more issues. And some people may react sooner than others. So with that in mind, we're going to start by talking about sunscreen. So we know, of course, it's very important to have sunscreen on when we are out for an extended time. Sunshine is healthy and vitamin D is wonderful. And I do recommend for those who can do it to get out without sunscreen for 10 to 20 minutes a day and kind of you'll build up a tan. And if you do it slowly, my teenage daughter has done this for some years. She will just lay out in the sunshine, even here in Colorado at the high altitude, just for about 20 minutes a day starting in the spring. And she gets to where she doesn't really need sunscreen unless she's going, to be out for an extended time hiking. But her body adjusts and she doesn't burn. So that's kind of a little tidbit. But of course, sunscreen is important. And for those of us that live at high altitude, it's extremely important because you can be out a few minutes, and especially fair-skinned people will find themselves burning. Taryn's nodding her head. Yep. You and Liam were thinking of. So I love the mineral sunscreen lotion that Young Living came out with, and I highly recommend it. It is SPF 50. They were selling out the SPF 10. I don't know if it's sold out or not, but it was on sale because they were just clearing it out, and they're just going to offer the 50. But it is water resistant. It is reef safe. So that's very important. A lot of people are realizing also that what we put on our bodies, if we go in the ocean, that can affect the ocean life too. And it is non-nano zinc oxide, which is the protective there. So nanoparticles are one of those things that we want to try to avoid. There's not as much research, but the research we do have indicates that they could be harmful. So this is non-nano. So with that, I actually learned about the nanoparticles and getting zinc oxide that does not have that in it. And I did make our own before Young Living came out with theirs. And my screen's kind of, I don't know if you can see the color, but I added cocoa powder because when I put it on, otherwise it would be really white. But the cocoa powder made it blend in really well. And this was all we used for a couple of summers because I was paranoid. I didn't want to buy store-bought sunscreen because I knew that it was not good for us once I started investigating what the ingredients were in it. So I did make it. I do have a recipe that I'll share after the class is over. But I will say, I mean, you're going to smell like chocolate. And my kids did use it very successfully playing soccer here in Colorado where there's massive sunshine. So we would put it on everybody. They would smell like chocolate. And it worked great. It just, it's homemade. And so your palms would be kind of chocolatey. And so it's fine. And it worked. And that was the main thing. But for ease of application and for not smelling like chocolate, I do like Young Living's. And so I'm willing to spend a little bit more money. Also, it is very thick. And so some people do pull some out and shake it up with some distilled water to make it easier to apply. And then it stretches a little bit. It still is going to work very well because of the SPF 50. Okay. So that's the sunscreen. So what happens if you forget your sunscreen or you're out longer than you intended? Even, you know, you still, if you're going to be out a long time, you're going to have to reapply sunscreen at some point. But Lavaderm, there's a cooling mist, and there's the After Sun spray. And they do have different ingredients. And the After Sun spray is one of our over-the-counter, we can make claims because it's for pain and itching if you've gotten some sunburn. And the Lavaderm is more of a cooling mist, but I have used this on sunburns, and because of the lavender and the qualities of the lavender, it is very soothing, and it has helichrysum. So helichrysum is one of the ingredients in Panaway. So if you know anything about that, you can understand how that would be helpful if your skin is burned. So both of these are pre-made, ready to go. I like to keep them in the bathrooms where the kids can grab them if they have been outside a little bit too much. DIY, peppermint is fabulous for cooling down. So peppermint and lavender, you can make something similar with some witch hazel, and depending on your bottle, you know, 10 to 20 drops of each works great. And I have done the DIY After Sun spray as well with just the lavender and peppermint, and that works really well. So peppermint is cooling, so I can tell you too, if you're outside and you're just hot. For last week, we talked about women's health and hormones. So for hot flashes too, another thing that women could do, anyone could do, is just put some peppermint on. Put a little bit at the base of your neck, maybe a little bit up here. Funny story about that. I totally forgot about this till I'm sharing this, but my girlfriend and I were coming back from a conference, and we got in the airplane, and it was so hot. I don't know, there was like no air, and this was in April. It wasn't even summer, but we were dying, and we were against the, you know, there was somebody on the aisle, so we were pressed in together, and we were so hot. She's like, oh, I have peppermint oil. Great, let's get the peppermint oil. And so we started putting it at the back of the neck, on our head, on our, you know, inside of our elbows and our wrists. And it was a great cooling effect. And all of a sudden, we both went, ah! Like, too much peppermint. So, okay, a little goes a long way, but it's kind of like your own personal air conditioner. Great for when you're traveling. You just don't want to overdo it. Okay, insect repellent. So if you are going to be outside in the great outdoors, I honestly, in Colorado, this is our first spring to be living in the woods. I'm looking out at our trees here. So we'll see. Moths right now have been a massive problem. And so I'm working on patchouli, but it's really hard because it's worse than it's ever been. But peppermint, going back to peppermint, is a great critter repellent, from ants to spiders to mosquitoes to furry critters. So it's just kind of an all-purpose warder of things, warder away. So you can make a spray. Again, you'll need a carrier with hazel, witch hazel, or vodka, or a little pinch of salt, something to carry the essential oils with the water. But Young Living also has a pre-made insect repellent, and I do not have it, because if they had come out with it when we lived in Iowa, we totally would have had it, because the mosquitoes were horrible there. But this is the mouthwash container. I brought this because this is the kind of container that it comes in. So you'll notice there's no spray. The liquid is inside. And so I just wanted to mention, if you want to use it and use it effectively so that you don't feel like you're wasting it, a lot of people will put it in a roller and apply it with the roller on those points, right? Where it will descend through your bloodstream. You can also DIY insect repellent, and citronella, I brought that up, but citronella is amazing. You can diffuse that. You can put it on cotton balls you know, if you're going to be outside, put it in float. There's like floating candles and fun projects you can make as well. But for a spray, I would just do maybe 30 to 40 drops, and you can combo it. There's thieves, peppermint, lavender, purification, citronella, some of the eucalyptus ones, I believe, as well. And you can just kind of pick what works for you. Some things work better. Just different people's body chemistry is going to react differently. But those are some ideas that you can easily make your own spray. If you do get bitten, I turn to lavender and purification as soon as I can. If there's a bite or a sting, both of those are going to really help right away. And peppermint, again, with that cooling sensation. So peppermint, lavender, purification are great for after you've gotten attacked by any of those. Oh, I did want to say that the Young Living pre-made insect repellent keeps away mosquitoes, ticks, and fleas. So I wanted to mention that for those who have pets. And there's no DEET, and of course there's none of the parabens or synthetics or any of the yucky ingredients that we've talked about before. Okay, we want to talk about hydration, because summer, of course, is a time when we're going to be hot, losing a lot more of our body fluids through sweat. Isn't that fun to talk about? But I wanted to mention the Vitality Drops, which my husband has been totally getting into. And I just tried the grapefruit and bergamot tonight for the first time. He said, I really like that one. And I tried the lavender and lemon before. So now I've tried them both. They are good, and a little goes a long way. So these are, it says 24 servings, but I feel like 1 squirt is enough for me. It's enough for my whole jar, a 32 ounce, just because I get the flavor and I don't want it too strong. So that's a fun way. A lot of people have said that helps them drink more water than they normally would. So that is a great option for staying hydrated. And then don't forget our skin needs to stay hydrated. And I think about this a lot more than some people, because it's not hot and humid here. It's hot and dry with the altitude. So some of the lotions I love our lavender lotion. That is just an all around amazing lotion. And then the Genesis hand and body lotion, I brought up 2 containers because this one's empty. But this is so thick that I make it 2. So 1 bottle for 2, because I will mix it with distilled water and shake it up. And my Genesis hand and body lotion can almost double itself. I will say it's hard to pull. I will take the first part off and I'll really soak my feet for several nights. I'll use this on my feet, and then it gets down enough to where I can put it in. And then it's not totally full. I'll put the distilled water to where it's maybe at the top of the label, and then just shake it up. And then it's a nice consistency. It's easy to spread, and I feel like, you know, it's making my dollars stretch a little bit more. And then for my face, I really still just go back to the Art Light Moisturizer. For me, that's awesome. Although I have been known to use just the lavender lotion on my face too, because that's really nice. So keeping our skin hydrated. And part of that is making sure we're drinking enough water. If we're not drinking enough water, our skin's going to show it, and we'll have dry skin. Okay, and the last thing, oh, and lip balm. I didn't bring it up here. I thought I had some up here, but lip balm is the bomb. I love the Young Living lip balm. It's so great. And then deodorant. Okay, so options for deodorant. So first of all, we have to talk about the fact that antiperspirants really are not great, even though we don't necessarily like sweating. Our bodies were made to sweat, and if we use antiperspirants, chances are there's going to be aluminum in it to stop the sweating, and that is not at all good for our bodies or our brains, as we are learning. So Young Living does have deodorant, pre-made deodorant. I'll throw that out there for what it's worth. I have to admit, I'm not a fan. I have not tried the new Valor deodorant, but the other stuff that I have tried, And my kids, you know, they humor me. They'll use what I give them, but they're not fans either. So other options too. And if you got some, if you happen to get some and you're not super happy with it, use it as a detoxer. Put it on your pits, put it behind your knees before you go to bed. You know, on all those places where your lymph nodes are to detoxify overnight. And then it's still benefiting your body, even though you're not getting the benefit of using it as a deodorant. Okay, so I've told some people my secret. Um, but I've used the toothpaste, the Young Living Thieves toothpaste. I heard about this from some diamonds, Royal Crown, like they've been with the company for years. And long before Young Living ever tried making deodorant, they just, I don't know, I guess because of the thieves, and the thieves kills the germs and things like that. So they have been using the toothpaste and loving it. So I thought, all right, I'll try it. And it works. It does really work. Now, we are headed towards summer, and it is, as it gets hotter, I do feel like it doesn't work as much as I want it to work. So I go back. This is the one where I feel like my DIY is better than anything I've purchased. And so I brought my empty container because I cleaned these out so that I could make a new batch, because it's getting warm enough in the heat of the day if I'm outside that I do feel like I need a little extra something. So my my recipe I'll include in the follow-up document that I'll send you, and it has baking soda and coconut oil, and I do use some beeswax. You don't have to, but if you don't use the beeswax, then you're not really going to be able to use a container to apply it. It'll be soft and you'll need to apply it with your fingers. But let's see, cornstarch or arrowroot powder, whatever your choice is there. And then the oils I use are lavender and Melrose and purification. And I just use equal amounts of each, and I'll have that in the recipe. But the one batch that I do makes up 2 of these containers. I have no idea ounce-wise what that is, but that lasts me a really, really long time. And I like the way it smells, and I like the way I smell after wearing it for hours, which I can say with the toothpaste in certain times of the year, but I've been noticing that's not working as much as it used to. So I'm going to go back. I haven't done my DIY in a while because the toothpaste was working so great for so long. And maybe I just started it after the heat of last summer. I don't remember. But all right. So that's what I had written down in my notes and my little show and tell. And I'll stop our recording, but then we can chit chat a little bit more if you want.